In this video we're going to go over Enroute's new thread milling wizard. If you don't have a spindle on your machine that has tapping capabilities, your other option would be to use a thread mill, and that's what this new feature allows you to do, is to create the thread milling to use, if you don't have a tapping spindle, to create the threads. One thing to go over really quickly: this wizard is only compatible with Enroute version 5. So you do require at least build 5.0.0.11 for this wizard to work. Okay, and this is just kind of a outlook of what we're going to be working with, what this wizard is going to create. We'll create the entire thread all the way down and also cut out your bolt. Let me show you a couple pictures of the outcome of this. So we do have this, the nut and the bolt cut out right here. And we cut this out at precision board. You can see right here kind of when it's right after it's done cutting, right before we removed it. And this is so let me pull this back up right here. Okay. Alright, so let's get started on this. Let me pull up. Okay, so let's start a new job with Thread Pitch Wizard. Okay, I have a couple templates saved right here. This is the one I did last time, and we'll zoom in real quick and we'll talk about the options we have right here. First of all, the position. This is the center position, so wherever I want the center of this bolt or nut to be, that's where this position, you can put it in there. Diameter would be the diameter of your nut or the bolt that you're going to be cutting. This is I'm going to be cutting a 3/4 inch diameter bolt, and I'm going to use a 0.05 pitch. The pitch is compatible for both inches and millimeters. Whatever you're working with in Enroute, it will automatically use that with the pitch. 0.05 would create 20 threads per inch. If you're in millimeters, it will create 20 threads per millimeter, so you use the millimetrical pitch. Okay, and depth. This is the depth of the thread, how far down the thread will go. The tool that I will be using for this job, it has a 0.65 cutting length, so I'll be doing a 0.6 inch thread. The tool diameter that I'm going to be using for a finer thread, I have a 0.182 diameter for my bit. Whatever diameter you have on your bit for your thread mill, this is where you'd be putting that. The depth of the thread. This is how deep I want the thread to go into the bolt and the nut. So how deep the little hole is, the thread literally is. I will be working with 0.03 thread. And then we have a thread buffer. This is just something, because depending on what kind of material you're using, you might need a little bit extra buffer room for the bolt to be able to fit into the nut. I have it set right here for 0.015. This is something you might need to test on your material and see if it's a little too tight, make the buffer a little bit bigger. If it's a little too loose, make the buffer a little bit smaller. This is just to give you that little bit extra space to make sure it fits just right. The hex side size is just for the size of the sides of the hexagon. It does lock it down so you can't have it too small. I couldn't make it smaller than diameter. If I make the diameter ½ inch, it'll automatically change. 1 second here. Excuse me. Yes, exactly. If I make the diameter 1 inch, it won't automatically change it to 1 inch. So if I change this, I can't. 0.75, it won't allow me because it has to be bigger than the diameter, or at least the size of the diameter. Otherwise, just to make sure that you don't have the head of your bolt to be smaller than your actual bolt. Okay, so, and this leaves gives you a little bit of space so you can work with it. Okay, so let me go over a couple of these parameters right here. So we have mill. If we click on mill, we're doing a bolt. If I don't have it on, we're just creating the nut. And we're going to go over both of those. We do have also inverted or two starts, and I'll show you what they look like. Let me pull up my windows right here. Okay, this is a two start. We can see it starts on this side and on this side. So this is for if you haven't, if you're creating a nut or a bolt that has to have two starts, you can do it like this. You'll start here, and the threads just intermingle between each other all the way down to the bottom. So that's what the two starts is. And let's show you the inverted. Inverted literally just says inverted. So if you have an inverted screw that is meant to go a different way, this is what you'd be using. You'd be using the inverted. So let's just get back to here. Alright, so I'm going to create both. So you've seen those. I'm going to create both the bolt and the nut. Let me just pull up my parameters I've pre-saved right here. So let's create a nut, apply. Let me move over a little bit, and I will create a bolt. Apply. Let's close this. So we can see that on the nut, the thread pitching, this is the thread pitch area, is on the inside of the hole, and on the bolt it's on the outside of it, so that you can create the the thread on the outside of that, the 3/4 inch diameter. So let's work with this, and this does create 3 separate layers: engrave layer, a fill layer, and a router offset layer. This is just creates layers to make it simpler, so that you can know what to toolpath with what. We do have, okay, let's start with this router offset. This is just, we're going to be doing the final cutout of the head. I'm going to do a cutout. I do have some presets right here, using my 1/4 inch cutout, and it's a 1 inch depth. You might need to do some bridges in there. I'll just put a couple bridges, just to make sure that my bolt and my nut don't move out when it's cutting out, because it is pretty small. Okay. Alright, so we have this. Let's go to the next layer, the fill layer. The fill, this is the only main part where it's going to be different. On the bolt, you're obviously going to be doing a fill from outside down to the cylinder, and the nut you're going to be doing inside of it. We'll use a fill. I do have a preset saved right here, and I'm just using my 1/4 inch end mill. And okay, then I'm going down to 3/4 inch, I believe that was. Yeah, 3/4 inch. Alright, and the engrave. I'll select both of these. And I'm going to use the engrave toolpath, because it has the follow contour option, and that's what I want. I just want it to follow that contour all the way. So click on my engrave. I do have a preset saved, which uses my single profile thread mill that I have, which is that 0.182 thread mill that I've selected, and I do want to have follow contour selected. I click OK. Now I can turn these all back on, and we have this all toolpath. We can take a look at it on the side view, perspective view here. You can zoom in and take a look, and we can see the blue is the cutout. It leaves me a couple bridges so that it doesn't fall. I also have doing the fill right here on the outside. Doing the fill, you can see that's on the inside right here, and we have the thread milling area just following down that line, and it's ready to be sent out to the machine. One thing I do want to make sure is my ordering. I do want to do the fill first, followed by the thread milling, followed by the cutout, just to make sure that I don't have any issues, because I don't want to run my thread mill if I haven't routed out this area first. If you already have just the cylinder, you don't have all this area, you don't need to do the fill. And that's how this thread milling works. Hopefully this helps.